right, welcome back to another episode of Friends from Work. This is a podcast about all things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, hosted by myself, Kyle Sconawill, and my longtime friend from work, Robbie Earl. It's a podcast about all things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but today it's basically a hodgepodge of a ton of life things catching up. We're kind of in this weird spot where next week we're going to do a Daredevil saga so far, which is so fun. So basically next week we launch our whole push to say, hey, if you missed Daredevil Born Again season 1, let's get your mind right before season 2. So let's take a look at the character through the Netflix series, through his appearances in the MCU, all in preparation for the March 24th release. And we'll have a YouTube video associated with that as well. So next week really starts the Daredevil talk, because after that, the week after, I'm planning on doing a Daredevil mailbag where listeners write in questions and we can answer things specifically about Daredevil. And we just finished a bunch of really fun stuff where Robbie and I gave our bold predictions in the MCU for 2026. And my friend Kirk Cousins joined the podcast for a football episode. So a bunch of stuff you can listen to and a bunch of stuff coming up. And today is the last episode where I was like, do you know what you want to talk about right now? What's going on in your life? And so I put out a question to some listeners and they gave me some feedback of what they want to hear us talk about. But essentially, Robbie, welcome. Today is going to be a really random day. I have topics wide-ranging, to say the least. So get ready, buckle up.
I actually wanted to start there with the Kirk episode. I texted you about this. It's fun because so often when we're on the podcast and we're trying to talk about the perspective of, quote unquote casuals or folks that are not super scrubbed in, it's sort of hard to put yourself in that position within the context of the MCU. But I am about as casual of a football fan as there is, in that like I understand the rules of the game and can follow it and can get invested in certain seasons and certain games. But
you know his career a little bit just from talking to me. And talking to him, I guess, last year.
Yeah. But like last time when we talked mostly non-football stuff. And
that's right.
This was like, especially at the start, y'all are just kind of getting into the nitty gritty of like game strategy and stuff. And I just found it fascinating. Like I really enjoyed, one of my favorite things, and we've talked about this with like the Neil, like Kyle Listen episodes. Like I love listening to episodes of our podcast that I'm not on and getting to listen just as a fan and enjoying it. And that was just it was a great time. So if you are listening to this and have not listened to that because you maybe aren't super interested in the NFL stuff, I would encourage you to go listen because it's just a fun conversation.
Well, thank you. I felt the same way. It's obviously a lot of him driving that, which is amazing. And yes, I think people... That's why I said in the episode, right? People don't realize even the tip of the iceberg of what he's thinking about on a week-to-week basis. Like if you even knew the body work that he has to do at this age, like flying literally all across the country every week just to try some new thing. This doctor in Cleveland, this person in Portland, this person in Minneapolis.
Whatever little advantage you can get.
Correct. It's like the last one was like shooting some water into his shoulder via a needle of some sort I don't know. Like it's just all stuff that it's like, I don't, then the mental aspect, not only is it incredibly challenging, but he is uniquely gifted at it. So I want to share this because this is kind of crazy. We record that episode, Rob, and I thought this might happen. I posted a short clip of him talking about what makes Seattle's defense so tough. Well, like our Spider-Man thing, again, not trying to like toot my own horn, it just blew up on Twitter within a totally different community. But basically in the last month, we've had 2 clips now go totally viral that we had never had in 6 years. So much so that I got texted from all of my Seattle friends saying, dude, your podcast is in the news. I texted some people like Kyle Brand on TV about it. So that maybe they would talk about it on TV. But this clip now has made the rounds everywhere to the point where you even heard like Seahawks friends of yours are now getting back to you. Hey, your show, Friends from Work. I went onto Twitter and you know how like they have the news section? The top thing is Kirk Cousins breaks down Seahawks defense in Masterclass. And when I click on it, it says on Friends from Work, blah, blah, blah.
Man.
It just really makes me think, like, I understand the weirdness in this. Like, there were a couple comments that were so funny. Again, thousands of comments again, so I can't keep up. But some of the comments were, man, this is crazy to get this level of ball talk from my Marvel pod. So I guess I'll say this, like, my dream world would be that each thing is large enough. We tried this for a little while ago, but it would be so fun to have Friends from Football as a separate show. That is me with some people talking strictly football. And then Friends from Work is Robbie and Kyle talking Marvel movies. Screensaver is Robbie, Kyle, and a mixture of hosts talking other movies. And then we bring in things like Sons of Gun. We bring those in. And like my dream world would be to like people find the network and it's, 15 different shows that are variety of guests and all this stuff. And so thank you for the patience on non-football, like from non-football fans on Marvel podcasts that are like, okay, whatever, I'll skip it. Thank you for that. As of now, it all just goes on one thing. I know that can be a little confusing, but it was a fun conversation nonetheless.
I did have two brief follow-ups on that conversation. One, I think you said this was Grant, who... He hosts a radio show in D.C.
That's right. Washington, D.C., their biggest show.
So he, and so that's his segment that y'all did, the overrated, underrated.
That's right. He texted me ahead of time. Yeah, he brought that over.
I want to steal that for our show because that's such a fun, I just think that it results in interesting conversations you wouldn't be able to expect. But there was one thing that cracked me up. When you are talking about like overrated, underrated sports movies, this is the most the least surprising thing that I could say. I'm a huge Jerry Maguire fan.
Oh, you are? That's so funny.
And I thought it was Kirk said that was an overrated movie.
Yeah.
And I totally I think he had a pretty valid argument about how like he didn't think that that's a really. Like it
wasn't much of a sports movie, is basically his argument.
And then I realized, that makes sense that like one of my, that would be a favorite movie of mine.
Your favorite sports movie, is the one that he doesn't like for being sports enough.
Right.
That's funny.
But yeah, I do. Even then though, I didn't think he I thought all of his criticisms were fair. It's not like he was saying that it was like a poorly done movie. I think he was just saying, as someone that has experienced the business side of that, he didn't feel like it was actually a movie about the business as much as it was just a movie about like Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger's romance, which is what the movie's famous for. The you complete me line.
Yeah, right. Show me the money. But I thought he did a ridiculously good job at answering those questions. I know Grant had texted both of us a few of them as a heads up, but some of those were not on there, like best phone app. Like he was ready to go. Kirk has so many takes just in life, by the way. Some of these we couldn't get to, but
the great clips, I like.
The Great Clips thing is unbelievable. He is like Great Clips' biggest spokesman right now. And it's just so funny. He literally does. I was in Atlanta and he goes to Great Clips and gets the thing and shows them a picture of like a team photo. But this last one, so many comments of how short his hair was. That's why I said in the thing, like, fresh cut. And he was like, yeah, they went a little lower, in San Francisco than I thought they would or whatever, because he was at the Super Bowl and got it cut. So funny.
Did you get any follow-up from him on whether he tried the thin Oreos per Grant's rec?
This is such a good transition. I just put out an episode on Friends from Work Plus last week, ranking my 10 favorite rides at Disney World. So that's a fun little listen.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But that's because this just so happened that I recorded that episode on Wednesday. It came out on Friday. Friday afternoon, I flew to Disney World to spend the weekend with Kirk on a vacation. So I just got back from there. And yes, we crushed Oreo Thins. And they were delicious.
Dude, they're great. They're great.
Had a ton of them. I still don't love the extra stuffing. He likes mega stuff. He likes double stuff. Mega stuff is his line. I don't really love double stuff, but thins seem to be a good fit. I want to tell this story. Some of our Discord listeners know this. You don't know this yet. Unbelievable what I'm going to share. So last March, I texted a group of 6 friends and I said, hey, let's all fill out a March Madness bracket for basketball and let's think of a prize for the winner. Kirk being a part of that group. Kirk says, we're not going to do a prize for the winner, but we're going to do a punishment for the loser. And I'm like, all right, whatever. We'll do it. Well, I lost. And I paid my punishment back this week. And this is unbelievable. So he's been looking forward to this forever. I had to spend 7 hours at Disney World from 2 o'clock till about 9 o'clock, dressed like Malibu's Most Wanted, B-Rad. So I had to wear like a wife beater that's skin tight, like my nipples are popping out. And if you don't believe me, it's unbelievable embarrassment. This is for 7 hours, including like sitting down at restaurants, like fancy restaurants, in a do-rag, a pink do-rag, and a wife beater. And I'm going to, for our video audience, play you a video right now that Kirk took of me walking in. Here's the embarrassment, Rob.
Kyle, can you give us a wave?
Imagine the sunburn I'm gonna have on my.
Oh.
And I'm now going to put some, I can't put it up
speechless.
right here. I'm going to put some pictures up. I can't show you right now, but our audience is now seeing some photos.
You're going to have to put like, we're going to have to make this podcast explicit.
It just will blow your mind. Yes. And our Discord listeners already did an incredible job of photoshopping some stuff.
Oh,
like me on a rap album. Unbelievable. You know, the whole time, my friend Ross there in that video, he wore a little Remy mouse like Ratatouille on his shoulder and dressed ridiculous. That was just out of solidarity. He didn't lose, but I think he felt bad for me. So he just dressed ridiculous. Nice. But he had this cool green hat that's clearly a joke. And so many people stopped and said, oh, I love your hat. Not one person at Disney World said anything about my outfit the whole time. And I'm pretty sure Kirk was laughing too. Like, I'm pretty sure it's because they think that's how I dress. And so they don't dare like comment on like the fact that my chest hair and my nipples are coming through the wife beater. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, so tight.
It's choice. It's a lifestyle.
So there you go. There's
That's
our
so
Kirk
funny.
Unbelievable.
I did not know what was happening in your your life in that way.
Isn't that do-rag insane?
Did Kirk buy all of that? Like, did he pick all of that pieces out for you?
Yes. A couple of our listeners are like, I'm so happy that Kirk's Amazon now is recommending do-rags like in his, unbelievable.
I love it.
Okay, so lots to catch up on the Friends from Work side. I want to say we've been doing these and we've been doing them successfully. If you want to support Friends from Work in a better way, check out Friends from Work Plus, and you can check out like the episode I just talked about the Walt Disney rankings. If you sign up for Friends from Work Plus this week for a 1-year commitment, an annual subscription, I will choose one person who does that to win a prize. And this week, Rob, I'm going to put together a little Friends from Work package. So our Friends from Work 32-ounce tumbler, our Friends from Work beanie,
nice,
and our Friends from Work If This Be Doomsday shirt is all going to go in a little box, and I'm going to package it and send it to someone who commits to a year of Friends from Work Plus this week. So let me know.
I love that.
Happy hunting.
I will say this is a good time to just looking at the year from now, because we're about to have a bunch of stuff coming between now and then. And I think we'll have finished our Marvel Comics 101 over the course of that year. So a lot of catch up that you can be doing on the
We've been saying that this year is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Really, it's from about now on. I mean, Wonder Man was great, but it was all drop at one thing. There hasn't been anything else. Once Daredevil starts, we're going to get special presentations. We're going to get animated shows, and the movies, etc., are all still upcoming. So lots of bonus discussions around that. And then, as always, check out Panel Bound Comics. If you're looking for dope comic stuff, like kind of like themed like Robbie's shirt there, which is actually from Homage, isn't it?
Yep.
If you go to panelboundcomics.com and you use our promo code Friends from Work, you can get incredible books, including the books we're covering on Friends from Work Plus with Marvel Comics 101. Actually, I think last week it may be over, but they had an incredible 50% off sale already. A sale on stuff that's already discounted. So go check that out. Okay, here we go, Rob. The MCU part of this discussion is that I put out a question to some listeners, and here's just some random things people would like to hear us talk about. So you ready to just kind of wing, 20 minutes worth of stuff on us just reacting to this live? I haven't thought about these either. Question number 1, what are some unique special presentations you think would be fun to see?
Huh.
So we've gotten the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. We're going to get a Punisher special this year. We obviously had Werewolf by Night as a Halloween thing. I'll start there and say, I do think a yearly Halloween thing could be kind of fun. Some kind of
I think so too.
Monster verse, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's a fun, like I thought the way that James Gunn did the Guardians holiday special was really perfect. And yeah, I think that year, I think we got Werewolf by Night and the Guardians holiday special in the same year. And I thought that they both kind of very much understood the assignment. I mean, the Guardians one was, I also thought, like, for doing something that's kind of in continuity a little bit more than Werewolf by Night, I thought they still did a good job of making it not like, it's still not essential. You kind of get what you need. Like, there is a big plot point there with Mantis and Star-Lord, but you can just watch the Guardians trilogy and they give you the information you need. So I like the idea of stuff like that where you can play in a little sandbox and do maybe a kind of like side questy type thing with a couple of characters or a character that you don't normally see that does further their narrative, but isn't strictly speaking like an essential part of the ongoing saga.
In universe, but not essential viewing. I agree. Here's a random example for me. As someone who just finished all of season 1 of Jessica Jones, I do wonder.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I do wonder if they could do like all of the Marvel Defenders. They're not going to give them all their own shows. Like, there's no way they're going to get around to Iron Fist or a new show of that, etc. Probably not even Luke Cage, even though he's a big part of that first season of Jessica Jones. And I've heard he's a big part of the comics, as Neil told us on Kyle Listen. And I've heard he's a big part of season 2 and 3, or a part somewhere in there. But if they don't give a Luke Cage show, could you do like a Jessica Jones special presentation? Like, yeah, this is a character that does exist, and we're not going to catch you up by redoing her show because it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
But maybe a little chapter after whatever happens in Born Again season 2. Could that be kind of fun? Wherever she's at, or
that's a great call.
Or Luke Cage is what
I mean. Any of that stuff where it's like, I mean, even some of the characters that we've seen a little bit of Moon Knight check-in would be fun as just like something where you don't necessarily have to invest in a full new story, but just like, I mean, again, like in the Guardians, it was fun that like they were able to get Kevin Bacon to come and participate in this like little holiday special. I assume it was fairly low commitment for him, all things considered. I'm
gonna let you hold that thought on Moon Knight because a lot of people asked a very specific question that I think that's going to apply to in a second. Okay. What are you watching right now outside the MCU? And I'll say for me, I'm not watching a ton. I told you I watched all of Jessica Jones season 1. That took a lot of time. That's 13 episodes of basically an hour. But
what did you think, by the way?
Well, I'm hesitant to say much because Neil wants to do a Kyle listened episode where we do it together and follow up. It has a crazy high Rotten Tomatoes score. I think there's just something about that Defenders series that just isn't my preference. And I don't want to be a downer. I'm really wrestling with if I should do this episode because I hate being the guy that's like, but I didn't like it that much.
I didn't like it that much.
It's just heavy. There's some things, I don't know. So it's like, what's better for
Kilgrave was a strong villain though.
Let's let our listeners answer that question.
Yeah.
Would you rather me not say anything if you love Jessica Jones and just move on, listen to Kyle Listen from Neil, which is free on our main feed, and listen to the Jessica Jones episode, and that's your fill? Do you want me to come on an episode if I didn't love something? Because basically the whole idea of this podcast was we come on here when we're passionate about something and excited. And so if I'm not, is it better to come on and critique something that you love? I'm open for ideas. I think there was some good stuff. It's just in general, it's like, this is not my favorite watch, man. Like I'm ready to do something else, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. It's also like, man, I really do think that those series suffered from the number of episodes. Like, I think
it's too long.
I think every single series, I mean, ironically, the only series that had probably the right amount of episodes was The Defenders, which is obviously like not a huge win. Maybe season 3 of Daredevil is the only exception.
Even that, though, my favorite thing they've ever done on Netflix, but I think that you could trim it by an episode or 2, like in total. Yeah. 13's too many, 6 is too little. It's probably like 8 to 10 of 1 hour episodes is the sweet spot for those kind of things. And then I'll just say the last thing I think I watched was I finished Fallout season 2, but that was like 3 weeks ago now. But I did watch all of Fallout. Really unique show. Yeah. How about you? You watch anything else?
Yeah, let's see. We've been watching The Pit. I don't know if y'all have watched any of that. We started season 1, and I don't know, it started out, and I thought the writing was a little cheesy, and some of the acting wasn't totally settled in. But then I just kept seeing it get such great reviews. A lot of doctors talking about how it's so realistic, and so we kept going in season 1, got super hooked, and now it's like the thing that we look forward to Thursday nights, because it just feels like, I mean, it's just basically ER. Like, it feels like throwback 90s television. There's something about it that, like, as every time it ends, we're both so upset that the episode's over, because it's just, there's something that's kind of like hypnotic. We've also been watching Shrinking season 3, which has been nice. And I wrapped The Studio a couple weeks ago, kind of right as we were watching Wonder Man, which fit because those shows are super similar. Kind of getting caught up on like a couple things that I had sort of almost finished. And then now we're just trying to get, we're like way behind with When the Baby Came on our Oscar noms. Like, we normally try to have seen all the Best Picture nominees. We've almost gotten there, but the big one is Marty Supreme, which we've both been really excited to see forever and just never had the opportunity. We did have the chance to see Send Help.
Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
Rachel
Sam
McAdams.
Raimi, Rachel McAdams. Man, so fun. Like,
is it really?
It's just exactly what you would expect from a Sam Raimi kind of horror comedy. I mean, it's like, it's zany and like, I mean, it's not really scary. It's, there's some kind of like, again, it's very Sam Raimi. There's some like really goofy kind of faux violence type stuff. And
sure.
But Rachel McAdams commits so hard, and she's so like, I mean, I feel like I love Rachel McAdams in virtually every role at this point, but
Same.
she's like, she's got a great like comedic sense of timing, and like
game night, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's really well done. Like, she plays it with a lot of nuance, and it's like, it really, because of the Sam Raimi of it all, there's always that chance, like, is it going to get so kind of ridiculous that I'm not even really invested? Like, it now doesn't even feel like it's anchored in anything, but it never gets to quite that point. So like, you actually do kind of, you feel like there's some emotional resonance. But yeah, it's just like, why? I mean, a Danny Elfman score, which is fun. It's, I think you would, I think you'd have fun with it.
I think I would like it. Okay, we'll be right back after a quick word from these sponsors.
Before we go to the next question, there is another thing we watched recently
Okay.
that I meant to bring up, but I don't know that we've actually had a podcast episode since then. For Valentine's Day, Candace and I, it was actually our first night out post baby, our first time getting a sitter.
Oh yeah.
And
big deal.
it was it went well. We actually got these tickets back in like August, I think, and we had kind of used it as a, this is going to be 3 months and change post baby and maybe a good time to start like experimenting. Justin Hurwitz, who composed the score for La La Land,
okay,
and kind of all the Damien Chazelle movies, he came through Austin and was doing one of those things where they he conducted a live orchestra along with the movie at one of the concert halls here. And
for La La Land?
For La La Land, yeah. And I've always wanted to, I've actually never gotten to go to one of those, period. They're doing like a Lord of the Rings one later this year that I might try to go to.
That's a no-brainer.
But like I've definitely, normally it's not the actual composer conducting it. Normally it's like, the local Philharmonic or something. And so it was really fun for him to be there. Just that score especially, I think there are a lot that would be really fun. Like I think that, they do Harry Potter, they do like Lord of the Rings, they do Star Wars, like some of the big scores you would think of. But what was really fun about La La Land specifically is there are so many kind of like, jazzy solo moments in that movie where it's like it's highlighting a specific like a trumpet guy or something. And so it was a really fun one to have played live because it's like every time someone's like playing a solo on the screen, you've got like a person on the stage doing that. And it just like creates a whole new level of respect for like the musicianship that goes into it. And there was even this part of me that was like, as we're talking about all the kind of AI slop and the conversion of so much of like the music that's streaming into like AI generated stuff, the like curmudgeon in me sees something like that, and it's just
not
like
this
is. It's just a it's like genuinely inspiring to see people kind of at the like the peak of their abilities doing something and having to work together in that kind of like synchronized way. And it's just there's something really cool about that I think is so lost whenever we're just like flattening it all out.
Do not get me started on AI and music. Damn. Oh my gosh. That's really cool. That's really cool. And I'm still mad at that movie. That movie still bothers me because I loved it so much. It's everything I really want. It's like incredible performances from two people I really love. And it's got such fun music and it's such a heartwarming story until they don't give me the ending I need. And that's what makes it genius. But it makes me so, I remember leaving going like, oh my gosh, you could just move there together. What in the world? Oh,
I know. But
and so like you get that final scene where he's playing in the bar and you're like this little nod of like, yeah, we're both doing our thing. But it feels so empty because you both pursued your thing instead of each other. And it's like, no, it's the right call. It's genius, but it makes me so mad. Like a week later, I was still like, oh no.
Well, and this time I think it stuck out to me that, in that scene when they're going back and replaying like how it could have all gone if they were together, they rethink every moment of the relationship. So I think like in my mind, I sometimes think of it as like, oh, if they had just like, if he had just gone to Paris with her, like if they had just stayed together kind of at the end there, then they could have wound up in the same spot that she was in with her husband. But I think that you're right. Like the reason it's the right call is they do a good job of showing like that just wasn't their relationship. Like even from the very beginning, like, it starts the reimagining with him, like with her walking up to him after playing the first time they meet. And instead of him just like shoulder checking her and walking out, them like kissing from the start and having, so it's this kind of like, what if all of the things that didn't make this work had worked? And so it is this kind of nice, like, it's a bittersweet, like, you wish that it could have been that way, but you also kind of understand why it wasn't and how maybe they had to choose. And the only other thing I'll say about that I'm curious to hear people's thoughts. Candace and I went to this, and if anything, I think I was expecting a ton of people our age, people in their 30s. And I was expecting maybe some older folks, just the kind of people that would like to go out and see like a symphony performance. There were so many 19, 20-year-olds in the audience, like so many.
Really?
And I was totally like, I couldn't figure out, like, I was like, is there some kind of like UT event that's like funneling into this? And so we left and did some research, and apparently La La Land has become sort of this like modern classic for the like younger Gen Z folks.
That's how old we are now. That could even be a classic.
I know. It's I was just sitting there thinking, like, the people that are here would have been like 10 years old when this movie came out, or younger, a lot of them. But apparently there's something about it that has kind of resonated and it's taken on new life. So this is me imparting the results of my cultural research to you and the rest of our pod community.
That's smashing. I love it. That's dashing. A few people want to know where we're at on our rewatch journey. Sadly, I hate to admit this, I have not watched Far From Home yet, so I'm still stuck. Just a lot of life things happened. Kids sick, traveled, winter storm. I just haven't been able to get to another movie, so we still need to watch Spider-Man Far From Home, and then I'm going to resume my journey, hopefully quicker on that pace. How about you?
Yeah. You might wind up catching me before too long, which would be kind of fun, actually, because there are a couple things that I wouldn't hate revisiting with you on the podcast. But I just wrapped Loki season 1. You know, our new watch order, which is one of the big changes that we made recently, is following up Loki season 1 with Quantumania and kind of doing like a sandwich there so that it's Loki, Quantumania, Loki season 2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Really liking that so far, because it makes it feel like that's all kind of like if we never get any more Kang after that, I think that watching it that way kind of makes that feel okay. Like it's a self-contained thing. Mm-hmm. And it is kind of fun, like ending it with the He Who Remains reveal and then cutting right to that opening scene of Quantumania where Janet finds him. Oh yeah. I have just started Quantumania, and I've been watching most of these with Betty while I'm like bouncing her. And we are, I think, like about a third of the way through Quantumania.
2 final questions, and a lot of people asked this next question. So I put this call out, and we got 6 or 7 people basically asking the same thing, which is kind of wild. Which is, if you could do some version of ranking or just generically talking about what are some of the threads that they have not followed up on yet that you would like to see them follow up on. Like, what is the most out there plot storyline that we haven't got anything from since? Obviously, with all this talk the last 2 weeks about Moon Knight, that's one that comes to mind, is some kind of, how does he tie into this all? Or if he doesn't tie into this all, why doesn't he tie into this all? Also, the last we saw him was this third personality, Jake, and like, is he gonna be a hero? Like, we only ever saw him in the context of fighting against kind of these avatars, but outside of that realm, what does he do? What can he do? That's where my brain goes right away. And I think the next one for me is the Scarlet Witch. If the rocks at the end of Multiverse of Madness was truly the end of her character, which you know that I don't think that's the case, but if it was, could there be some confirmation then that was like the end? In Agatha, they referenced, we don't know where she is. And so I think they're kind of leaving the door open that she's not dead, but seems like a really, really powerful character to kind of just be out there for 4 or 5 years without ever knowing what's happening there. I'm desperate for just another Thor movie because this last week with Crime 101 being in theaters, which
has gotten good reviews.
It's gotten really good reviews, and I haven't seen it yet. I would like to. It sounds like something I would like to hear.
Really fun
Chris
cast.
Hemsworth was on Smartless, and then he was on
nice.
some other shows. And so I spent a lot of this week on my jogs listening to Chris Hemsworth talk.
Did he talk much about any of the Doomsday stuff?
Almost none of a lot of it was about like life and midlife crisis and like, moving back to Australia and like, very like heavy emotional things.
Mm-hmm.
He briefly talked about he loves working the Russos and it's fun to see everybody. And they talked about like his tattoos. And so the Avengers tattoo got brought up, and Will Arnett said something like, seems like a really fun, just like a fun community that I'm jealous that, you guys have. And he was like, yeah, that was it. So anyways, not a lot of that, but here's my point. I've just been thinking about him a lot because they do talk about balancing how fun it is that there are fans of your character from other things like comic books, while also acknowledging that sometimes you disappoint them. Like with Love and Thunder, he said like we were trying to just kind of make this fun like sketch almost, and a lot of people didn't like it because it's deeply offensive to them that this character would be that. So he talked about writing that line, and then he said, yeah, we have a few more really special things coming up. He didn't say like just Doomsday. He said like because they said like, are there going to be more Thor movies? He said, yeah, there's some stuff coming, is what he said. Like just like that. And so I'm just thinking about Thor a lot is my point.
Yeah.
He's been in my zeitgeist this week, and I thought, like I would like to see where they go with that character.
Yeah.
It was a very unique move for Love and Thunder, but now what? No Jane. He has his daughter. Kind of what era does he go into next, Yeah. I don't know. That's for me off the top of my head, literally not thinking about it. 3 that come to mind. How about you?
I will say also, again, having watched Love and Thunder recently, I do like where that leaves him, and I like where it's picking up in Doomsday. I think it's so funny because that character is on paper just not very interesting to me, but I have just gotten so invested in Chris Hemsworth's Thor over the years. I think there's just something so charismatic about what he's bringing to it now, especially after what he was bringing to it kind of early on, which I thought was kind of underwhelming. But
which he talked about that and we know this, we've talked about this in the podcast, but he talked about how after the first 2 movies and probably a little bit how he's written in Age of Ultron and Avengers, he just said, I looked at all my counterparts and they were getting scripts for their characters that were so cool. Like they were all getting like to do all this like heavy emotional acting. And I was kind of like, I sat down with Kevin, like, I don't know where to go with this. We're kind of just doing this like, hence then Ragnarok and how he's, Ragnarok, Endgame, Love and Thunder, etc. Infinity War, obviously. And so that was kind of fun to listen to anyways. So he's with you too. He's basically stumbled into something very interesting now to him.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously that's one for me. I'm excited to see where that character goes. I don't know if and when we will ever get this one. I would still love to get a proper follow-up on Mordo from that Doctor Strange post-credit scene.
You've said that before.
I just think it was a nice little stinger, and I think it sets up a nice conflict between them. It might even be better now if more time has gone by, like if that's something that we don't really get to circle back to fully until after Secret Wars. That could still be fun. But that's something that I think that was one of the sort of disappointments for me of how that character was used in Multiverse of Madness. It was I didn't mind that portrayal, but I thought it felt kind of like a bit of a hollow follow-up there. One that I do think we're going to get more on, another kind of stinger, some of the stuff that was previewed in Homecoming for Spider-Man, because I think it's confirmed that we're getting Matt Gargan in
that's right,
the new
Scorpion.
Spider-Man movie.
I was thinking of you when that happened because that was one that you always kind of felt like it was left out there.
I mean, I guess the like Michael Keaton Vulture stuff is fully off the table now. Maybe depending on if Sony wants to honor the weird thing that they did with Morbius, but also I guess he would know Spider-Man's identity anymore anyway because of the spell. But
that's right.
And
by the way, Brand New Day put out their first ever official synopsis. Did you read that?
So that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Okay, and part of that says like he is still dealing with the ramifications of his past. So I don't think they're just going to like say the spell was reversed immediately or something.
Right. Yeah, and I think like from what I said, because I saw Greg talk about it in our newsletter, and I forget like it came out as part of like a book, right? Like a for like the art of the movie or something. And they kind of include the synopsis for the movie in there. So I got the sense that maybe it's not 100% like this is the
sure
official synopsis, but it does seem right. And I loved it. Like what I was reading, go like check out our newsletter, and Greg has quoted it in there, and you should subscribe anyway. But
it's something like 4 years later. That's a big detail. And then it says that he's like at the height of his crime stopping in New York, but has to wrestle with his past kind of thing.
Well, and so, there's something about him like getting kind of wrapped up in this like murder spree investigation. And I love that.
I just got chills.
It's like we've never gotten that. Like it's always been
no doubt.
Here's Spider-Man and here's the supervillain that he's fighting. And I'm sure there's a supervillain here because it's a superhero movie, but so much of the Spider-Man comics are just him going around like
just
fighting
if
crime,
Frank
normal
is like
crime.
if Frank's like on a murder spree trying to stop a bad dude, and then Spider-Man just swings in and is like, "Hey, we don't do that" or something, that would just make me so happy. It's hard to explain.
And 4 years. I mean, that's the biggest time jump we've gotten with that character since he was introduced.
College.
So yeah, it's going to be.
There were a lot of people that were mad about the no
18,
college
right?
thing. Well, there are a lot of people that were mad that we're skipping the college years because apparently there's some cool things that happen in the comics during college. I will just say, I love that because I think if you go into the college years, you're right away kind of falling into the homecoming type years. Yes, it's a different age, but like in general, I want more of what you just described and less of like school dynamics and any of that. I'm ready for the next chapter, and I'm nervous that'd be too similar.
And I'll also say, one, you've kind of got a sense of what people are talking about from Spider-Man Blue. That's a lot of what people are saying when they talk about the college dynamics. And yeah, there are things there that have never been done as well as they might have been. Like I think Raimi sort of tried to do the MJ Gwen thing in Spider-Man 3 and it did not work at all. But I do think that the Raimi films in general captured a lot of, from the halfway through the first movie through the end of the trilogy, Peter's in college and you see him going to classes and struggling with that and trying to balance like not having money and relationships. And so it's like we have had that era. I think people are generally pretty happy with those movies. And then now we've had the high school era done really well in both, certainly the Tom Holland films, but also the Andrew Garfield film. The first one leans a lot into the high school stuff.
But like the video game, give me that adult era now. Give it to me.
We've never really gotten that. And yeah, you're so right. I was always wondering, how are they going to bring Zendaya back into this when the whole thing is like she's gone off to Boston? And it makes total sense. She would just, I guess, come back to New York after she graduates.
The other one I'm thinking about, and again, I've said this so many times, I don't know if it's possible, is Kang. And again, because of off-screen things. So it bothers me that if we never get another follow-up on Kang, that what, like you said, it's just that mini chapter. I can't, for the rest of time then, I think, watch those movies and feel the threat as much as I did in Loki season 1, where it's like, I mean, in Quantumania, he says, I've killed a Thor before. And in Loki season 1, it's like, good luck. This is what's going to happen if you do this. And then in reality, it kind of wasn't that much about him in Loki season 2. And then it was kind of over. Obviously, that wasn't their plan. Throughout the MCU, when we started this podcast, we talked a lot about how what they don't want to do is this, here's the ultimate bad guy. Then the good guys stop him, and they go, but just wait, there's actually an even worse guy behind that.
Yeah, the Dragon Ball Z syndrome.
And they did such a good job of that. Like, even Loki being a villain in the first Avengers, I don't think you're thinking to yourself, like, there's probably a more bad guy behind this. But they kind of like lay the groundwork that this is a bad guy, but not the only bad guy in the universe. And so you're never going like, it's not what I'm saying. It's not like they go, Loki's the ultimate bad guy. Then they stop him and they go, but wait, there's actually Ultron. Right. And then they stop him and you're like, but wait, there's that. It's not that. It's kind of just like, we know Thanos is out there and he's no good. But underneath that, here's all these other bad guys. Even Guardians, right? Like for a second, you start thinking, oh, this guy's pretty bad. But they remind you, Thanos is out there and he calls him boy and, so they've never done that.
Yeah. Even like Ego and Guardians, I like that they're not, like they don't try to one-up Ronan or Thanos or, with like...
It's kind of a different thing.
There aren't these conversations that you often have in movies like this where it's like, he's the most powerful thing we've ever faced. Like,
that's right.
That's right. Not, you're right. They kind of are... They've done a good job of not getting like backed into that corner.
And when they say that, they usually stick to it. Yeah. Like when they hype up Scarlet Witch as, the most powerful being or her power exceeds even the Sorcerer Supreme, they don't backpedal on that. So it's like they kind of just said it. Right. This is what it is. That's her. But not every wizard is up there with her, as an example. Here's my point, though. I actually think that that's what they're going to have to do with Kang if they're going to do it. And I actually think it could be effective, relatively speaking, given the fact that they haven't done that thus far. So my point is, I think all it would take would be a 2-minute scene of Kang feeling himself like it's really working, and then Doom walking in and doing that spine ripping out.
Yeah.
That would be the first time that I can think in the MCU where you go, oh gosh, we thought Kang was the real bad guy, but look at how bad this dude is. I think I would be okay with that being the follow-up, is my point. Because we haven't done it before. I know the off-screen things are a hurdle, but I think that would then give some... Like, if I was showing my parents the new saga, 4, 5, and 6, I would say, like, still feel the dread of Kang, because he thinks he is, like, under control. And it still is going to matter, but you're just going to find out later someone's even more powerful than him. And I'd be okay with that, I think. So that was a long tangent.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I think that they would need to do a little bit of like show Kang take out a bunch of like really other powerful characters to some degree, or just be like seemingly unstoppable and then have the Doom moment just so that like
good point.
It carries a little bit more weight. But yeah, I think that's right. Again, there are ways to do that I think would actually make a lot of comics fans happy and play into the Doom Kang dynamic there. But I also think that worst case, a lot of what He Who Remains is talking about is the multiversal war piece, which is not necessarily just that it's Kangs that are so impossibly strong as much as it is just like
a force of nature, what's happening.
And like endless incursions, like that, like he says in Quantumania. So I think that could all, like that threat would still exist. And obviously they're doing that stuff still in terms of like Deadpool and Wolverine.
All right, that was a long answer. Final question, I guess maybe rapid fire here. Final question. Yeah. Any dream team ups for Doomsday? Like, just as a fan, is there something that you think would be a fun interaction? And I haven't thought about this either, so I'm going to buy myself some time while I'm thinking. Did you know that Thor and Spider-Man haven't met yet? I read that the other day. I'm like, oh, that's so true.
Yeah, I did. Well, whenever I was thinking about the our like this or that game, because they've been in the last 2 Avengers movies together, but not in scenes. I guess at the funeral.
I'm going to give one cheesy answer, and it may not hit the same without Iron Man, but I think I am ready for an original 6, or I guess an original 5 or original 4 at this point. Yeah. I saw this post that the last time we actually saw the original 6 all fighting together is Ultron in that final fight. From that point on, which is like over 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, 2016?
Yeah, like, 11.
We haven't gotten them straight up all team together like that. Now, again, you probably don't have Tony and you don't have Natasha, but maybe if Yelena is the stand-in there, I guess, and then anyways, just like if there's an OG interaction, like Cap and Thor would be really good to see them interact again.
I think because even then, like
maybe Bruce, Cap, Thor, and Bruce.
Yeah, like I think just Cap and Thor would be really fun because you haven't gotten like you had after Age of Ultron them kind of branched to where Thor went down the Ragnarok route with Hulk and Cap went down the like Civil War route, and then they have that one moment in Infinity War, and then in Endgame again, like they're together, but it's also Thor is like clearly going through stuff, and that's a lot more, I think, like Cap and Tony's time to kind of reforge an alliance. So I do think, especially since they're kind of setting both of them up now as being in this different phase of life and not really wanting to fight anymore and having a kid, and I think that could be, it would be, I'm sure, seen as fan servicey, but.
Well, the whole question is going to be fan servicey. Like that's the whole point of this question, you know.
I mean, I will say
Wanda and a full powered Vision, and I think Wanda and Redemption with Doctor Strange would be fun. Like now that she comes back and like them fighting together would be. Cool.
I think the Wakandans and the Fantastic Four team up that we've already gotten a sneak peek of in that trailer is really fun.
There's some people that want Johnny and Spider-Man because of some of that drama from those comics.
Because that's a classic. That would be really fun. I mean, honestly, I think Spider-Man and Punisher is one that I think is like, that's a classic comics dynamic. I mean, the characters showed up there for the first time. I think that's a really, like, those characters juxtapose in some ways even better than Frank and Daredevil do. There are a couple that are coming that I really love. I mean, one thing that I'm going to have to think about, and we'll have to circle back to this, is like which members of the like OG X-Men.
Gosh, yeah, I forgot.
If some of those, like if they're going to split off, you know, and if you have like I don't know if it's just going to be like, here are all the X-Men characters that we're tracking, or if it's going to be something sort of like an Infinity War where you have like Thor go with Groot and Rocket and the rest of the Guardians go with like Tony and Peter and Strange. If so, like which dynamics we want there.
I could really get down with most of my mashups. I'm thinking are like fish out of water, like who totally wouldn't pair, you know, like Spider-Man and Thor, and that'd be kind of fun to see them interact. But on the other side, I could also do kind of like a meeting of the minds Illuminati thing, like to see like Magneto and like Magneto and Reed and maybe even like Namor. Like talking it out or something, you know, or like that could be kind of fun.
I mean that's true. Like even if like the OG Illuminati is kind of, it's more possible than it's ever been. You know, because we now have a Reed and a Charles on the board.
That's right.
So that even that would just be a really fun moment, and would kind of, you know, mirror the multiverse of madness Illuminati a little bit.
There are tons of others, by the way. I just don't think they maybe apply to Doomsday. Like, obviously, we've wanted Daredevil and Spider-Man. I think the Young Avengers thing someday would be cool. I want to follow up on Kate Bishop. I think would be kind of fun. I thought Kate and Yelena did really well together, but that's not Doomsday. I'm just trying to think. That whole new Avengers team, the Thunderbolts meeting the Fantastic Four, could be really unique. Like the Sentry and Red Guardian dynamic, opposed to Ben and Johnny, you know, kind of thing would be kind of fun.
The Sentry, like a Sentry Bruce team up could be kind of fun too. Like just in that they have such similar, like they both have these kind of, you know, dark, unleashed versions of themselves that they're having to grapple with, and you could kind of imagine some interesting dynamics there.
Well, it's fun to think about, but we're going to shift gears to Daredevil, Born Again Season 2, and get on the street level, not the galactic level. So pretty soon, I'm going to put out a message for with our phone number to get some feedback for a mailbag episode. And then I said that funny mailbag episode. And then Saga So Far. I'm really excited for our listeners to see our screen recap video we put together for this season of Daredevil. Truly, I think if you haven't seen season 1, Born Again season 1, we have a 9-minute video that will get your mind right and get caught up. It's going to be really fun. Thank you for listening. Again, remember our giveaway at the beginning of this episode. I'll send you some Friends from Work stuff if you sign up for Friends from Work Plus. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for supporting. And we'll see you next time right here on Friends from Work.